Hi, I'm Jordan Thorne. We're here at TMRE 2019. Today I'm joined by Renata Policicio. She's the VP of Research and Insights for the Global Markets at ESPN. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
So I wanted to start off, if you can tell me a bit about sort of your current role and where you, kind of how you got to where you are today. Had you always aspired to be in a leadership role?
I think I'm so passionate about research that came naturally. But I'm a curious person, and I have always been a curious person. And I think if there's one key thing that a researcher needs to have is curiosity and wanting to understand what and why. So I think that's what really drove me there. And you asked me about my role.
Yeah.
So I lead international markets for ESPN. So most of my work is really understanding what fans want and don't want outside of the US.
Really interesting. So in your role at ESPN, you lead teams that span across the globe. Do you think that leading employees across maybe culturally different areas requires you to alter your leadership style at all to be effective?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have been leading multicultural teams for more than 10 years now, and you learn it. And sometimes you learn it the hard way. But yeah, people in different cultures are motivated in different ways. The work-life balance can be different. So absolutely, you have to change, not completely change your leadership style,
Yeah.
but really adapt depending on especially what culture you're talking to. Absolutely.
Do you have like an example of something maybe kind of different between two areas?
Uh, India is a very good example. So India is a big market for ESPN.
Okay.
And just the sports that people consume and love in India
Yeah.
are different. And the way they see athletes in a very, almost in a heroic way in India is very different from here.
Yeah.
We admire athletes here, but in India it's so aspirational. They really look up to athletes and players in a different way.
Yeah.
So the relationship that people have with celebrities are different. So that kind of thing in Latin America, people tend to work long hours, but not as much here, not as much in Europe. So
Okay.
if you ask someone in Latin America to work a little bit after 6 p.m., they will be fine.
Okay.
So that kind of cultural difference is interesting, and it's important to respect and understand.
Yeah, that's so interesting. So how do you foster creative and innovative thinking within your organizations?
So there are a lot of internal clients that me and my team that we support, but talking about what I'll be talking about this afternoon here is about storytelling. So it's really inspiring our content teams, our storytellers,
Okay.
to tell stories that connect deeper or create a better engagement level with our fans. So what I'll be showing today is a great example to answer your question. We talk to fans and understand what good sports stories mean to them. So what are the main attributes that they like in a sports story? And then we share those insights in a way that internal content teams can really relate
Okay.
and can really understand. So one example, there are lots of videos and examples in this presentation because that's really how our content team, especially the storytellers, will really be able to, okay, I see what you mean by that.
Yeah.
So what I try to do is to really adapt the presentation or the delivery of the insights to the group that I'm talking to.
Okay.
So content teams are not about numbers,
Yeah.
are not about huge tables. So what we did with this presentation is to make it really visual, provide examples of what we're talking about, and examples that we actually used in the research to really make that concrete for them and to make the insights actionable in a way that it can really impact the business and impact their day-to-day.
Yeah. Is there kind of ever a time when, the teams are feeling like, oh, I feel like I've been doing the same thing. How do I get out of,
And I think that's
the
a lot
norm?
of our mission.
Yeah.
I think as researchers, you need to bring, and we say innovation, but just creative ways of thinking about a topic. So a lot of our mission is really opening their minds a little bit and say, hey, have you ever thought about doing this?
Okay.
Or what we heard from fans is this other way. So what do you think about it?
So the insights from the fans actually really drive the content that you deliver.
Absolutely.
Great. So how has research that's drawn from the ESPN project strengthened the impact of storytelling in sports, and how does this translate for media brands and other brands alike?
it applies to content, but it also applies to marketing campaigns, for example. So when you're talking about CPG brands,
Yeah.
the way you tell a story through your marketing campaigns is really impacted by the insights that we learned.
Yeah.
So it was not only about the content team. So to the content team, to answer your question, is how you tell more powerful stories. What attributes or elements, or what we call qualities,
Yeah.
of powerful stories you should have in mind when you're writing a story, when you're thinking about producing a story. But we also share that with our marketing team. So when you're thinking about a campaign, when you're thinking about how you position your brand, these are powerful elements that you should try to incorporate, because every campaign tells a story. Every ad tells a story.
Yeah.
So that is very relevant for advertising and marketing teams for sure.
What does a powerful story look like?
I'll give you one, and I always tell everyone who sees the presentation, and if they can leave the room with only one thing, remembering just one thing, is the power of being relatable. The number one attribute that we found, because we did a lot of quantitative work, so we found that relatability drives all the KPIs that we measure. So brand affinity, so really how people connect to your brand, how people connect to the sport, in the case of sports storytelling, what drives people to recommend that story to friends. The main attribute, the main quality that drives that is being relatable. It's humanizing athletes. It's showing emotion, so fans can relate to the story.
I love that. What has your research revealed about the kind of storytelling that connects with the consumer?
So besides relatability, we found that depending on what you want to achieve with the story, you should think about different elements. So I just mentioned relatability. We saw that relatability is the one dimension that should be incorporated to every story. But besides that, depending on what you want to achieve with that story. So if you want to drive recommendation, if you want fans to share that story with their friends or family, you may want to be a little more provocative with how you do it, or funnier. But if you want to drive brand affinity or league affinity, you may want to include different qualities. So we tested 18 qualities to really understand what quality drove each KPI. The metric that we use, depending on the goal that you want to achieve with the story. So I think that's one powerful piece of insight that we had. Yeah, you have to be relatable, but on top of that, you can play and mix different attributes and different qualities depending on what you want to achieve with that particular story that you're telling.
That makes a lot of sense. And just to finish off, why do you think it's important for great thinkers to come together like this to share their ideas?
I think this is all about consumers and fans, and I think this reminds us of the most important thing is we call them fans, brands call them consumers, clients, but it's the importance of really listening to the fans and the consumers in different ways. And it's great because we hear about different methodologies and just sometimes different ways of thinking the same problem that I may have or the same research question that I may get. This opens my mind. So I'll remember that case study and that particular brand or company used that methodology. And you learn a lot.
Amazing.
You really learn a lot.
It sounds incredible. It is a great event. Well, thank you so much for joining us. It's been great speaking with you today.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.